eve of a new year and a new start and a new beginning. Um, this is Luz and Laura's happy hour, and we're going to talk about some really important stuff. Hopefully it'll get your year rolling the way you want it to. It involves the 7 pillars, which are truth, acknowledgement, fear, errors, judgment, clarity, and self-responsibility. And these are all ways to tap into your co-creativity and become the manifesting power in your life instead of having others manifest for you. Because that's really what we need to be doing, is manifesting things for ourselves and becoming the creators that we were always meant to be. And I'm so glad to be with Luz and to have her in my life, because she's really helped me to learn how to co-create, and we're manifesting together right here, and you can join us. Right?
Yes, we are.
Yeah, and I have this beautiful fire behind me. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I can see the reflex.
Yeah. I changed my little background thing, and Luz has got her beautiful curtains behind her, and I'm all decked out for New Year's Eve, because after this happy hour, I'm going to go over and play some music with some friends and bring in the new year. So I'm so glad to be here first. It sets the night off perfectly. So,
Happy New Year, my beautiful soul partners on both sides of the sun.
Absolutely. And
it's been a great journey.
It has been a great journey. It has been a great journey. And this year has actually been probably, I don't know, it's had some real ups and downs for me, but I think it's been pretty much good, actually. I've made lots of changes in my life, massive changes in my life that were all really good.
And I attest to that.
Yeah, and you're part of that transformation for me. There's no doubt about it. So, I mean, that's kind of the deal. You know, once you start getting your energies in the right places and your frequencies flowing in the right places, then you tend to attract those people that actually help to get you to the next level. So it's an ongoing process, and I don't see that there's any end in sight. I mean, you know, I really don't think there's an end in sight.
It's a spiral up.
It is just a spiral up, right? And it's never ending. So, and that's kind of the cool thing about it, is never ending. So, I'll stop this. Oh, wait. No, got the wrong thing going here. So I wanted to talk to you, Luz, about your 7 pillars. And you have these recordings that you made back in, what was it, 2007?
2010.
2010, okay. But these have been in the process before you made the recordings, obviously.
Yeah.
And so essentially, these are the 7 pillars for really getting to the crux of who we are inside, because any change that happens has to come from within. We have to manifest that change in ourselves to be able to model that behavior for others, so that they can actually see that we've made a change, right? And that we're moving towards, you know, we're moving in our own co-creativity towards the important things that we need to grasp onto, which are truth, acknowledgement, fear, error, judgment, clarity, and self-responsibility. And the last one is really so important. But in order to get there, you have to go through all these other things.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Because it's so easy to talk about you need to be self-responsible. You know?
Right.
What does that mean?
What does it mean?
If you never had the model, human beings learn through modeling. If you never had the modeling of self-responsibility, and we know that there are many families gravitating around the world with this thing of blaming or the only other two choices, right? Blame or guilt.
That's right, blame or guilt.
So if you've been born in that corner of the mountain where, all you knew is that when something happens is you either have to blame somebody or take the huge hit with guilt within yourself. There's not much more option, right?
Right.
So that's the thing about self-responsibility, that it really means to walk away from the victim, stereotype.
Well, yeah, and I think people get into that mentality because it becomes much easier to blame everything outside of you for everything that's going wrong inside of you and inside your life.
Well, it's a model.
Well, yeah, and we learn that from our parents, from many people. We learn it from many people.
Exactly.
We learn it from our parents. We learn it from our...
It's encoded. It's encoded in the collective consciousness, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
we have it.
Okay, so I wanted to bring up because you mentioned the mountain, and some people may not know about the mountain.
Still there?
Essentially,
what you said, I didn't hear you.
Your concept. No.
Okay.
Your concept.
All right. Well, you just want to shoot me a message when you get home.
Your concept is called the Mountain Project. Okay. And I think it's important for people to know exactly what that whole landscape is all about, right?
Yeah.
Because it is a landscape, and it's the landscape of our lives, right? So we're all kind of perched on the mountain. We have our little corner or our little, shard of rocks that we're standing on, or wherever it is that we are on the mountain. And we're short-sighted on the mountain because we only can see what we can see from our part of the mountain.
Right. I mean, look at the mountain. I mean, think about being born in the middle of the mountain. Honestly, you have no clue you're in a mountain.
Well, no. Because you only see your little space there, right? Or what you can see from there. So your world exists in a very small area. And unless you're seeking knowledge, you're going to just stay on that little crag, right? And you're going to be looking out over the world from just that side of the mountain. And we need to keep in mind that the mountain is huge. So we can, if we want, choose to climb up, maybe push somebody off of their area and climb up the mountain, or maybe have somebody reach their hand out and give us a hand up to a new place in the mountain. And of course we do that a lot, especially women, because we get married and then we have children, and of course we're trying to help people onto our little crag that we have created together, so to speak, right?
Expand your corner of the mountain to the whole mountain.
That's exactly right. And then of course, like I said, other people are always trying to bring you to their piece of the mountain too. That's the other thing. It takes consent to do that. So, yeah. Yeah.
Well, the Mountain Project it's part of the Hawk mindset, and it entails the inner child portion of the Hawk mindset, and the idea basically is because the idea is to be able to look at the world a mountain, and to look at the mountain with the eyes of the hawk, so that you can because basically all of us know we are the mountain. No matter how, in what corner of the mountain you were born, there's a little flame inside of you that knows that there is a whole mountain. The same way that we know that there is more galaxies and more countries, more, all of it. We know that we are that. So it depends on what experience you decide, because basically this whole thing is based on the fact that human beings learn through modeling. And if they
Oh,
learn through
absolutely.
modeling, it's such a simple thing, it's not about guilt or blame. It's just, oh, I was modeling this. Well, it's from the middle of the mountain. Maybe we should try, a little upper there or down the valley. Maybe we
Right.
see things differently, right?
Right.
So that
Exactly.
you can
Exactly.
all connect, you know, every corner of the mountain from the standpoint of the inner child, you know, kind of as an observer from the adult, to look at the mountain again and to go and observe and basically allow the enormous acknowledgement of its voice, because at some level, the question is, what would you have said when you were a child if you had the opportunity to be heard? So it's kind of a revision of your mountain, of your corner of the mountain, because your corner of the mountain has a huge impact in you, because the human, character is already defined at 5 years old. Think about it. 5 years old, your character is completely defined.
That's pretty.
About it.
It's pretty intense, actually, if you think about that.
So you
Because
need to go to that 5, because there's so much stuff going through those 5 years that you don't know. That's affecting, and others that you need to enhance, and you need to kind of align them,
exactly, and
That at the inner child level.
well, and I kind of have a little story too about some of the stuff that were modeled. Now I had my mother was big into enemas, so she gave me enemies all the time, and I didn't even realize that this wasn't something that was a natural thing for mothers to do. So when I had my son, I'm asking my pediatrician about, well, do I need to be giving my son enemas? And he's like, no. And why are you asking me that question, right? And I said, well, because my mother gave me enemas all the time. And he's like, well, no. He said, she should not have been doing that, So, I mean, it was a good thing I asked that, because I would have continued that modeling for my own children if I had not asked that question. Come to find out, right? Come to find out that that whole enema thing was not exactly, kosher, and that was part of my programming. And modeling,
it was not organic.
It was not organic.
That's that. Let's leave it at that, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. So it's a good thing to ask questions, right? Especially when you're in doubt about something that, you heard when you were young, and you're like, you hear it, and now you're an adult, you're like, something's not right about this. Right? Because you don't know.
Maybe
there are
other ways of doing that, beyond the middle of the mountain.
Exactly.
Let's go look for them.
So people would some people probably think that it's really sad that like really happened or whatever to me, but the deal is that I don't view anything as sad anymore. I view it as a stepping stone to a new place on the mountain. right? Or how
You know,
about we just
yeah,
take flight and become the hawk, and we're not on the mountain at all, so we
yeah,
get the view
yeah.
of all of it.
So
We
we
get
can
all of it,
get the micro and the macro, both of
and
them, right? And to give
absolutely.
perspective.
Yes, different perspective, and
Yeah.
that's key. I mean, we need to have a different perspective on things, because
Well, you were talking about this, about the pain, and about a little bit about that thing of the experience. You know, I come from the standpoint, it's second skin to me, and it took like a year. No, it took like 10 years, literally, from a quote from Einstein that says, "Knowledge is only experience." Okay,
exactly.
it was in the 80s. That thing was in my bedroom for 10 years because I recognized as something really important to understand. So, therefore, whatever experience you had as a child, it's knowledge. There's not good or bad experiences. It's only knowledge. It's only experiences transmuted into knowledge,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah. And
So there's no good, bad. There's no guilt, blame.
no.
All of that doesn't make any sense because if you're doing what you're doing and now you're punishing me, for doing what you're doing. It's like, what the hell are we doing? You know?
Yeah, well, that's the deal. What are we
It's,
doing? Are we doing what we're doing, what we need to do for our soul self, or are we doing what someone else has kind of planted a seed in us to do,
yeah,
right? And it doesn't really belong
yeah,
to us. Um, and I think it's important to comment on the fact that we are being like totally programmed now. I mean, it's not just our parents anymore. It's from so many different areas. What seeds are
okay.
being
Just
planted.
if you just think about that, that we are educating our children across the board on the fictitious idea that
Yes.
children learn through lectures. It doesn't get worse than that. I mean, you keep scraping and you keep more and more and more. I mean, honestly, if you understand that scientifically human beings learn through modeling, what is this?
Well, yeah. And
You don't know? Or you don't acknowledge the science? Or it is, there's another kind of cosmic. We used to call it a cosmic joke. It kind of is, anyway, but it's
well, and I
huge.
think I think it's important too, because what you just said is, I mean, you used the first one of your 7 pillars, which is truth, and then and then you mentioned the second, which is acknowledgement, right? Which
Yes,
means that once you learn the truth, you have to acknowledge that truth for yourself, okay,
yes,
for everyone
yes,
around you. Um, and,
yes.
and of course, we have the third one, which is fear, which essentially, once you start to acknowledge things, you tend to have less fear
Yeah,
because you're starting to get the fact that there's errors that happen in your life, which is another of the pillars, which would be
yeah,
the fourth pillar, okay? And all of these things match up with our energetic chakras.
yeah,
If you actually do some research into that, you would find that these things actually are what our chakras are. It's who we are. And no matter
well,
how much we're modeled, we still have these base things here.
yeah,
This is what we are. This is who we are. This is how we need to be living, and not according to the modeling that we've had in the past that was not necessarily a good model. Usually it's not a good model, you know, usually. I'm just
well, it was
saying.
lacking a lot. It's 3 dimension. You're missing half of the reality.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we are more than just what someone else has shown us.
Yeah. So you know, I would like to go to the 7 pillars, back to the original story, so that people understand. Because now we talked about the mountain project, which is the inner child, you know, and then the pillars, and
Right.
then you know that's all under the umbrella of the hawk mindset.
The hawk mindset,
And I
right?
should say hawk mindset, right? Because the hawk
Yes,
mindset
yes, yes.
it's I did it reverse.
Yes.
I remembered. Anyway, so it's really important because the 7 pillars, the story, it's amazing. Um, they came to me in you know, they just came to me and I had to do them. But when I was 7, when I left corporate for good, I mean, it never did, but I couldn't even stand it anymore. So I left, and I decided to go out and create what was my sole purpose, which was some kind of a training duality, because I had identified by then of the world was duality. You know, the main if you go to the root cause of the problem and you want to put it in one word, is duality. You know, is this polarization thing. So, and I didn't, you know, then I developed some language to explain duality, because some people don't even know what duality is, because they are so immersed in duality. They are, you know, they're jumping from one side to the other, blaming or guilty, you know,
Blaming everybody
instead
else
of
for everything.
expanding consciousness through the experience, right?
Yes.
So what, you know, I in 2000 I was, so I knew that I wanted to create something that was going to be a training that was based on 2 important elements. The thoughts affect your reality, because that is my lifetime study and research, and the inner child, and the conversation between those thoughts and the inner child. So I knew those elements were really important. So I had like already 2 modules for the hawk mindset, which is it's the inner child, and the first one, which is thought masters, heart magnets. And it's a very simple thing, because I wanted to simplify the process. Hawk minds, you know, thought masters and heart magnets, it's to connect the heart with the brain, and the left brain and the right brain. And it's simply the science of thought, you know, the science behind the thoughts, and then the mechanism of how to work with your thoughts, which is not rocket science, because the brain receives the information that you want to change, you know, in 45 days, scientifically proven about 10 years ago, or I don't know how long, by NASA. Now it's much shorter. When I did this thing, it was 6 months, and that was when I was in my 30s. So what I'm trying to say is that the brain will receive any information that you give it consistently, repetitively, during an X amount of time, and turn it into a belief and a behavior. It's simple. It's not, oh my God, I cannot change. What am I going to do now? You know?
Right.
You know, it's simple. You know, you follow some steps. And you allow acceptance, your human acceptance through this process, right?
Yes.
So, so I did at the time. Uh, so I did a lot of work with the inner circle of Unlock This Game with Ari Galper's, actually. Ari Galper's inner circle. And I was coaching, in 2008, the entire year, when the entire system went down, I was coaching entrepreneurs and financial planners and banking people. I mean, it was horrible. So we needed to get very creative. So it was open, and thanks to that experimentation, that Ari trusted me enough with his own inner circle to work with them and gave me free range, complete trust to work with these people. And at the same time, all he asked was report to me, because we both were understanding that it's not necessary to only change the language that you're speaking in terms of sales and business, the 21st century, but to connect it with the subtext, with the inner dialogue. Because you can say whatever you want, but if you don't believe it and if you don't mean it, it doesn't mean anything. So why are you going to waste time and people's time, So then, and that was, from that year, we went through the bottom of fear, which was huge in sales in those days, the bottom of fear, and overcoming the fear and where it comes from. And that was a huge part of the experiment. And then it was after that, I remember when we were having a conversation about, about, saying, what is it? Where does it come from? Remember the time that you felt it the first time. It always came up a question, which was, okay, I can repattern my thoughts and I can, literally monitor my thoughts and create new architectures within my thoughts, that are more, that will harness, that my thoughts will be harnessed in a way that I can, perform to the best of my ability, right?
Yes.
So the question came, it was compared to what? Right? Yeah, I do this, but compared to what?
Right, exactly. What do I compare it to?
There's something hanging. I was sitting here. I have the inner child, and I have the thoughts, and all of that is proven. With my scientific mind, I need to disprove something 100 times before I can prove it. So that was clear, but there was something missing that would connect the dots. And it was a difficult process, because when at that time, for instance, one of the pillars is judgment. When you're talking about judgment, at the time I had the question, I had to question myself. Do I have the right to tell people that they cannot judge anymore? Do I have that right? So it was kind of like a process within myself, to allow myself that as a universal principle.
Absolutely.
So that was an example. It came like that. So the question was, something is missing. And since the mindset, the entire process, the last chapter with the inner child is what I call the internal visionary team.
Mm-hmm.
Your internal visionary team, where you are with your hawk on the left, to never have you forget ever again that there is a big picture and there is a whole mountain and you are part of it.
That's right.
Right? And the inner child on your right, reminding you that you're a creative and psychic and amazing being. So you are in a round. So the way we visualize it is that we just, the way I create it in my mind, and I tell my clients, or the people I mentor, is that. So imagine that you have this round table, and you're sitting with these two entities that is the Trinity that we'll never forget, that will connect. It's clear, uniting the left brain and the right brain, and then there is a hole in the middle of the table. And in the hole is your higher self, which is connected to the universe and the bottom of the earth, and goes back there, right, to connect everything else. So in that table, you sit whoever you want besides those four people or entities. It can be Albert Einstein, telling me, don't forget that knowledge is only experience, girl.
Right, exactly.
Exactly. So that's the way I visualize it, and I have people sitting in so they are the masters, they are your family, your grandparents, your parents, all these people who are on the other side, connecting with you, helping you reconnect with them, because we need to reconnect to the core of the galaxy.
Absolutely, because that's really the core of us.
That's exactly, that's who we are. So so that's kind of the vision. So then I hear this internal visionary team that I have saying, okay, now you have to do a radio program. And I found somebody that was very resonant with me, an amazing friend, an amazing colleague, Neil Worthington, who's on the tapes, by the way. And we started talking, and I said, and he was kind of like totally fascinated. I said, Neil, this is what we're going to do now. He said, okay. And then I started, so we did kind of a preamble of passing the torch, because we're both baby boomers, and we both have, he has 3 girls, I have 3 boys. We had like a lot of things in common, in terms of spirituality. And he's an amazing guy. So we had this preamble, radio program of 45 minutes in Blog Talk Radio. And finally, I go, okay, from now on. So, okay, not even from now on. I go, okay, today we're going to do truth. The word truth, that's it. Nothing else. And they kept coming. All of them kept coming. They didn't come in the order that we're presenting them at the time. After that is when I got the information from Spirit, that they are 7, and it's very beautiful because they are 7, and you have like 2 positive in the beginning, and then 3 negative.
Yes.
And then which is pretty much coincides. That's why we've been having much to do with the chakras, because it's like truth acknowledgement. No, truth acknowledgement from the, yeah, right?
Yes.
And then it's fear, which is in your throat.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
your voice that
You
could never come out.
always feel it there, right? It's like, oh shoot.
Yeah. And then it's errors, right? It's the
Yes.
errors in the heart. And then judgment in the stomach.
In the stomach, yeah. Yeah, that's where everybody
And
holds it,
then
and that's why
clarity.
everybody's fat there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I have to turn my light on because I'm
Turn your
getting
light on.
dark here.
It's getting dark there. You can't even see you. We need to see you. Oh, there you go. That's good.
There.
Yeah, that's
Now
better.
you see the curtain. Okay, so.
And then there's clarity, which is down around the.
Clarity, kind of like clarity back to the you know, the chakra. I don't know which one is the first one. The first one is the.
I think clarity is probably around your, you know, your creation spot.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly. Yeah.
Right. You know, it is. You know, which is really
Exactly.
the part of us that is really the least bit clear.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of the time, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of a disconnect there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And then self-responsibility, I think that's kind of like, you know, the base of everything, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
is. Yeah.
you know, there's no doubt about that.
So I want to tell the story about how this thing came to me and how I got inspired also, right?
Yes.
So all of a sudden I'm guided to Carlos Castañeda and Don Juan, and Don Juan says that to become a man of knowledge, you have to overcome 4 things. The first one is fear. Second one is power. Third one is clarity. And fourth one is old age.
Yeah.
Okay? Which is pretty much 20th century.
Mm-hmm.
So after I went through this, like, you know, looking at every angle of it, I started doing this with the Neo.
Where's the sound coming out?
And then when I had the 7, weird, huh? Maybe it's the goddess. Huh?
I'm sorry. I became disconnected for a second.
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
I'm better now.
So I went through them, you know, and then for some reason, again, my internal committee, you know, visionary teams said 2. When I got them all, you know, all the words, and I remembered all the teachings of Don Juan, I kept 2 from him, which is, and I added 5 more.
Right.
So, and it's interesting because I kept. Then all of these things came later, right? You're thinking about, oh, I did this. Oh, that's why I did it, right? Because that's kind of like the way spirit works when you trust, right? You just go. They tell you to do something, you need to go do it. You have no idea why, but you know that, you know, your life depends on that for that moment, right?
That was just Eva calling.
Oh, wow.
I'll call her back.
Yeah.
Okay, so essentially,
So I kept fear and clarity.
yes,
And then when I'm thinking, why didn't I keep power? Because we overdid power. Power is done. We're out. Power is 20th century. We know every angle of power now.
yes.
So, and why old age? Because we're transcending to a fifth dimension. It's not relevant anymore to overcome it. We're not, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the deal. And I think for me, the reason why these things are so important is because my upbringing was such that I was abused a lot. So I only got part of it, mainly because I didn't remember things. So
Right.
if you're walking through life and you don't have memories, people
Yes.
ask you and you don't have memories, and it's like, okay, so in my case, there's no modeling for certain things.
Yeah. Which in many
So
cases is better.
yeah, in many cases it is better. I feel fortunate at this point, actually, that some of the
Yeah.
things that I didn't remember, I didn't model those because I don't remember them. So,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
so I can do my own model now, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of the idea of all of these, these
Yeah.
7 pillars, is to start our own new models, right? And what do
Yeah.
we want to model for the next generations? Um,
Yeah.
as parents and as grandparents, great grandparents, if that happens to be part of what your life is. But I mean, do we really want to model the things that we remember from our childhood that are less than worthy of modeling? I mean, we have that choice to change that whole dynamic for the
You know,
future generations.
yeah, and that's the whole purpose, that you don't want your children to suffer what you suffered.
Well, no, not at all. And we want to show them a different way. The only
Yeah.
way to do that is for us to seek truth,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and obviously knowledge, because that's
Yeah.
a huge part of truth. And once you do that, then of course, you want to be able to acknowledge, the truth that you just were enlightened with. And for me, that's huge because I never had acknowledgement ever in my life growing up. And it's nice to know that I can do that for myself now. And
Well,
I.
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, okay?
Mhm.
People talk about forgiveness all the time
Right.
when there's nothing to forgive. In my view, there's absolutely nothing to forgive.
Yeah.
When you're hurt, what hurts you more? What they did to you, or the complete lack of acknowledgement that they did it and lack of taking responsibility?
Well, and
You know,
you're right. You're right about that.
what I'm saying is that if somebody comes and says, I am so sorry I did this, it was not my intention, I know where it can, but I'm genuinely, I'm here for you, and that's fine, and I acknowledge your pain. I acknowledge your pain. How many people do that?
Not many.
We live in a world where the lack of acknowledgement has kept us completely confused.
Yeah. Well, and it's.
Because we need the acknowledgement as human beings, because we are one, we are part of the same, so we need the feedback, we need the acknowledgement. Yes, it happened. We are in a global mindset that most people have been, and I want to be careful with my words here, you know, but most people have been pretending, you know, that they are not stabbing you in the back while, you know what I mean, or in the, I mean, they're stabbing you in the front and saying, no, 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 I'm not doing anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, 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 no. It's all in your mind.
Yeah,
It's a conspiracy theory, you know, come
exactly.
on.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
like, come on.
Wait, look over there. Look over there while I'm stabbing you, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
exactly.
The
Yeah,
emperor has clothes. He does. I swear
yeah,
he does. No, he's
yeah,
naked.
yeah.
I see he's naked. He knows he's naked. You are
Well, you
not
have to acknowledge
acknowledging it.
that he's naked.
You're not
You know,
acknowledging that he's naked.
nakedness
Yeah.
looks like that.
Yeah. And
Wow, man.
we have to ask ourselves, why are we acknowledging that, that he's wearing clothes when he's not really doing it, or that, they're stabbing you and you're not acknowledging it to yourself or to them either.
Oh,
It's
it's
like,
much
what?
worse. What you do to
It is
yourself.
much worse.
I mean, doing
Yeah.
that's why the truth, that's another one. It's not a moral issue. It's never a moral issue. It's
No, it
not
isn't a moral
really,
issue.
it's only an issue of loyalty towards yourself.
Yeah.
You know, anytime you lie, I know it's hard. I mean, honestly, how you're not going to lie if you're going to be blamed or considered guilty and then crucified and then put in the unforgivable list? I mean, come on, you lie.
Well, yeah, you're going to do anything you can
You
to
know,
protect yourself.
it's
Well,
really hard. But
and
the
it's
point is that and of course there are situations and situations. I'm not moralistic about lying at all in that sense. What I'm saying is that the core of the thing is that you're lying to your, when you're trying to hide a part of yourself by lying, you're doing a disservice to yourself,
oh yeah.
not to anybody else, because it's to your inner child saying that it doesn't exist, not there, you know.
Well,
It's
yeah,
kind of
and
like,
that's the huge thing. I mean, when my boyfriend was lying to me, I had to make it clear to him that, um, the biggest lies he's telling are the ones that he's telling himself, not the ones
yeah,
to me. You know.
yeah,
Yeah, and I mean, I can't do that. I can't lie to myself anymore. Now that I know things, I can't lie to myself anymore. It can't
yeah,
happen, won't
yeah,
happen, because I can't live in that frequency,
yeah.
because it's a whole different frequency.
Yeah, and it's very, very stressful how people can live like, you have to remember
You
everything you
have to remember
said.
who you lied to and
Very
what you told them.
complicated frequency, man. It's not
Exactly.
fun.
And I mean, what is that? That's like, you're dancing around all the time because, oh my gosh, especially for like people that cheat, I mean, here you are out with another woman and you're watching a movie with her, but then you come home and can't remember that the movie that you saw wasn't with your wife, right? And you say,
Yeah,
oh, you saw that movie? I'm like, no, I didn't see that movie. What do you mean? I never saw that
yeah.
movie.
Oh
Who you
my
been
God,
watching that
that's
movie
so
with,
hard.
right? You were watching the movie with somebody else because you didn't see it with me, and I didn't like it, okay? Because I haven't seen it, and I
It's
didn't like
very
this,
hard. That's a
right?
hard one, man. That's
Yeah,
a
yeah.
hard one.
It's like what? And then they try
Yeah.
to convince you that you're mistaken. You actually saw the movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
what
the
I'm
worst
like.
part.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
like no,
yeah.
you saw, you just don't remember. I'm like,
I had a friend. I had a friend. I had a friend that was so funny and so brilliant, and he died very early on. And he was from Barcelona, and he said, "You deny it even with photos. You deny everything."
yeah, yeah.
You know, that's the way it is. That's the programming for men. Men, it doesn't matter. It's all in your mind.
Yeah, it's all in your mind.
You know?
You
Yeah,
actually
you
saw the
create.
movie
Yeah,
and you
you
liked
make.
it.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah.
remember. It's like, no. And you know what? That's not even a movie I would have wanted to watch, right?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not even the kind of movie I wanted to watch, right? In the first place, it wouldn't be something I would have picked. And and then it's like, I didn't like it. I didn't see it. What?
So,
You know,
so anyway, uh-huh.
well, I wanted to say that, that forgiveness is a big thing. And I do a lot of work with PTSD soldiers that come up to me, randomly because they understand my frequency and they're attracted to me. So they come up and they tell me lots of things. And I have to, one of the things that I do is I forgive them after they've told me. I mean, they just unload on me and they tell me everything.
Yeah.
People do that. They've done it, since I was as far back as I can remember. But the thing is that they will tell me things that they probably wouldn't tell their mother or their best friend or anybody else.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
tell me things, and I have to always say to them, that they don't have to consent to that behavior or those thoughts anymore, and that I forgive them for whatever it is they feel they've done or was done to them, because we all have we all have a percentage in every transaction that we engage in with in any relationship that we have, no matter if it's a friend or just workmate or whatever. We all have a certain amount of investment in there, and so it's important to me that I give my full in every transaction, and in order to do that, I try to be truthful and I try to acknowledge these men and women, um, and I try to forgive them. Um, I do tell them flat out that I forgive them and that and that they can forgive themselves. I give them permission to forgive themselves,
Right.
which is
That's I think the
you know
important part.
and
Yeah. And with
that's
yourself, the
real.
only one that matters. All of the others are not real.
No, and and last night I actually there's this woman that is extremely overweight, at one of the clubs that I go to, and she has taken it upon herself to kind of treat me kind of bad, mainly because I've been making some intense changes in my physical body,
Mm-hmm.
in every way. And she
Mm-hmm.
actually, like last night, came up to me and said something. What have you been doing? I've noticed you've lost all. Oh my God! And and she's actually reaching out to me now to figure out how she may be able to actually get something from me instead of being jealous of me or
Right.
putting me at arm's length.
Cooperation instead of competition.
Exactly, and that's the whole thing that happened. Okay, now I was really kind of close with her before, and then she started kind of treating me in the competitive manner. Okay, which is what you just said, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
so then I just backed away from her, and I would not
Mm-hmm.
engage, right? And it's not that I
Mm-hmm.
don't care about her or anything, because I really do. I care a great deal about her, and I love her like I love everyone, and I want her to do better. But the things that I was trying to educate her with in the past were falling on deaf ears. Now, when she reached out to me yesterday, that was huge because I was able to give her something that I don't think she's had in a long time. And one of the things that I said to her was that she can change her body just by changing her thoughts about herself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I've done what
Mm-hmm.
I've done. Okay, I've changed my DNA. I told her that, and I told her that it's
Mm-hmm.
about conscious directed thought, which is what you were talking about before, having the directed thoughts, consistently, and the behaviors will follow. So I gave her that gift, and I also told her later, um, when she was walking by me, and I said, Anita, I said, you deserve this, okay? I said, you're walking around thinking you don't deserve to be healthy and that you don't deserve to have, to be thin. And I said, you deserve it.
Mhm.
And she had there was a distinct change in her whole energy field when I said that to her.
Mhm.
And she was
Yeah.
smiling at me all night long after that. And then when she
I
went to
love
leave,
that.
right? And then when she went to leave, you know, I said to her, I said, have a good night and have a happy new year if I don't see you. And I said, remember what I said. And she goes, she didn't have to, you know, she didn't have to have me repeat it. She says, I know, I got it. I deserve it. And I said, and she was smiling, beaming, smiling. And I was like, yes,
Yes.
yes, right? You
Yes.
know, and this is huge. It's just huge.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Okay.
you know, that's it.
Here's something that I wanted. You said the word DNA, and you know, for me with the Hawk mindset, what was the confirmation of all my work was the study that the Russians did that found that we human beings can reprogram our
We can.
DNA with the vibrations of the words and frequencies.
What do we want?
Ha! Ha! Which, and we're talking about reprogram your DNA,
Yeah,
okay? Reprogram. Which means that everything you tell yourself, it's, you know, can be recycled to reprogram your DNA,
yeah.
literally.
Absolutely. And you know, I need to say, you know, at this juncture that I have done this in my body, okay? Because I used to have Hashimoto's, which is incurable thyroid disorder, which kills your thyroid, okay? Now,
Mm-hmm.
I've been on medication for a very long time with this thing. Now I don't even have it, okay? Because of my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Thought, okay? So I don't even have it anymore. I do not have that medical malady which they told me was incurable, okay? Now, that's huge. I mean,
Huge.
it's huge. Yes.
Yeah, it
So,
doesn't look like it's important. Sometimes these miracles feel like they are not, you know, kind of like
well,
it it
well,
sinks in. And
what I kind of hear now though is from people that are like that are having new illnesses and things. They're like, oh, you know, that's the problem. All this time I've been having this da 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 da, and you know, I have to say here that you know, um, this disease comes from our dis-ease, you know,
uh-huh.
and what we are telling ourselves. So if you're
Yeah,
telling yourself you're tired,
exactly.
you're going to be
Exactly.
perpetually tired. If you're telling
Yeah,
yourself you have
yeah,
diabetes and you're sick and it's incurable and you
yeah,
can't do anything about it, you're going to have
yeah.
diabetes and it's probably going to kill you.
Well,
If you have,
your
you know,
brain takes that programming to the
it takes
core,
it
man.
seriously. It takes it
It takes
seriously. It's
it
not
very
playing around.
seriously.
Your brain is not playing around with this, okay? So,
And the other thing that's so important in the science of thoughts, I think is totally fascinating, is that the heart is, we are, you know, talking about trinities, we have a biological body, we have an electromagnetic body, and we have um, a spiritual body, right?
absolutely.
So, so the electromagnetic body, oh, I lost the idea. We have these three bodies. Oh, I forgot what I was going to say. I'm sorry.
You get it back again in a minute.
Yeah.
You
But
know,
anyway, yeah.
well, and you know, I think that it's important to get people to realize that we are electromagnetic, okay, and that we are frequency, and that simply by thinking in a higher frequency, we become
Yeah.
that higher frequency.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
the higher the frequency, the better, because we have a lot of planetary changes that are taking place in our universe right now, and the Earth is actually raising its own frequency at this point. So, if we don't
Yeah.
kind of like go along with that whole thing that's happening, we're going to have a lot of disease. Okay, because
Yeah.
our frequency is in dis-ease, and a lot of us are not aware of that fact. So it's important to get in touch with the earth power that we have, and like Stan.
Oh, 1 second, man. No, second. So, yeah, exactly.
So so for all of us, we need to. It's really imperative that we start to have mindful thought about everything. I mean,
Yeah. Be aware of your thoughts because they
oh
are
yeah,
much more powerful than you ever think. And we're talking about reprogramming your DNA. It's huge. So the good news about this, and it's what we wanted to talk about also today,
yeah.
is that we have the three modules, which is thought masters, heart magnets, the 7 pillars of thought, the foundation of the Hawk mindset, and it is a revaluation of universal principles,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
And then the inner child with the Hawk and all of that, the mountain project. So the revaluation of it is a revaluation of 7 universal principles. So I did these recordings in 2010, and I've been giving the recordings to people, different people, go listen to that. Go listen to that. See what you think.
Mm-hmm.
And but lately I've been doing it more with what should I say? I've been doing it more within my circle because I created my mastermind group in December last year, and it's still in creation, but it was the first concrete attempt because you have to have a visionary team outside and another one inside, right?
Absolutely.
Give me 1 second, please.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. She wants out, she wants in. There you go. So, so, so the thing was that 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 is a book that is going to be published soon. But we decided that those recordings were worth selling right now in the raw kind of, quote the raw, because you were so amazing and did their editing and went through them. And it was a huge experience for you, which is kind of a double binder. It's
Well,
like amazing,
and that's
right?
the deal. When you're listening to these, there is some change that actually occurs. Okay, and I've been finding my way through the minefield of my life, because that's really what it was. With different terminology and things, and different tools that I was developing for myself, because I had to learn how to protect myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I came up with some things on my own, but it really wasn't quite as clear as what you have here as far as the 7 pillars, and also the Hawk mindset and the Mountain Project, because those things really put it into the kind of and I don't even I like to call it a paradigm, because I don't think
Yeah,
it's a program.
Yeah.
I think it's
It's
a paradigm. Yeah,
yeah.
and I think that we need to have that paradigm going on here. I know it's going on in my life, and I'm using all of these
Yeah.
things to make a mass of changes in my life. Everything from my love life to my physical being to my spiritual being, to the fact that I'm doing service to others mostly now. That's one of my main things is to do service to for others. And
Yeah.
when I feel somebody, and I'm an empath, so I feel things very deeply, and I feel things from everyone. When I feel someone that's in pain or in sadness, I want to reach out to them.
Mhm.
Sometimes all it takes is a pat on the back or saying hello, how are you doing today,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Like somebody cares.
Acknowledgement.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, I feel your pain. It's emanating off of you, and here, let me help you a little bit by just giving you some of the energy that I'm feeling. And maybe that energy, I could reflect back to you, and you can actually see that I am feeling what you're feeling. So, you know,
Una. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's important for us to do that on a human being to human being basis, and we're not really having that happen too much now. Everybody is in their cell phones, and they're not connecting, and um, a lot of the times when these guys and these soldiers come up to me, and just people in general that are attracted to the energy that I have emanating, they want to tell me the things that are kind of throwing them off. And and I want to be able to do that. I want to be able to reach out, and I think it's important that we all start to do that. If you see somebody in pain, then say, hey, what's up?
Mhm.
What's going on? Why that look on your face? We walk
Yeah.
around, we don't pay attention to
Yeah.
what people are feeling. You could tell on somebody's face whether they're having a good day or not. Say hi in both cases, right? Say hello in both cases. Smile in both cases. Um, we can give that to each other, and it costs us nothing.
Mhm.
It costs
And,
us
and
nothing
yeah,
to
and
do
talking
that.
about costing nothing, there's another thing that we decided with the hawk mindset, and that's a big story in itself. But we didn't have the time. We don't have the time now to explain too much. But we decided that these recordings are going to be seven MP3s, and so so
And they're
we've
available for everybody.
yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
We're going to have them available. I have just finished editing them, and they are going to be available on the soulhangout.net,
Yeah.
and you can get them there. And we're doing this by donation. So listen to them, and then decide what the value is, because these are valuable. They're extremely valuable. They are the stepping stones to a whole new way of perceiving your life and the lives of everyone around you. And I have to caution you that once you start to live these things, which I live in love and peace and joy and kindness and truth, and once you start to live these things, um, and you start to listen to the 7 pillars, you get a certain understanding that I think a lot of people just do not have at this point in time. And it's intentional. I mean, we have many different things that are working outside of us that keep us from getting to where we need to be inside. And these things have value, and that's why we haven't put a price tag on them, because we think that everyone should have that choice of how valuable those things are to you on an individual basis. And you should you should act accordingly. I mean, that's kind of the deal. You know, if you think it's worth $100, then you know, for you that then donate $100. You know, if you think it's worth more, then donate more. If you think it's worth less and it doesn't even, you know, I mean, then obviously you weren't listening. If you don't feel that
But the
there's
thing
some
is that,
value to this, if you don't feel that there's some value there in what is being said on those recordings, then
well,
I
you know, it has to have value.
does have
If it
value.
doesn't have value for somebody, you know, those
Uh,
are the rules that we want to apply here.
yes,
Basically, I don't want to charge anybody, you know, anything. I don't want to put the price tag. I want the price tag to be put by the client. I think it's a
yeah,
much more fair equation. I've done a lot of thinking about this. I've talked to Laura, my partner, on this, and with you, Laura,
yeah,
and
yeah,
with many people. We've dug this thing. You know, how can we present it? And literally, you know, even if we do memberships, you know, which we will, and we are organizing all of this stuff, and the first thing is the 7 recordings, it's going to be whatever you decide, you know, according to your pocket and according to your idea of the value that it is, how it translates it in the value that it is to you.
well, and yeah, you know, okay, and that's really cool because we have a choice then. We have a choice to decide whether something is of a value to us. Now, you know, a lot of times we buy things nowadays, we get it home and it's not what we expected. I mean, they're just not making things the way they used to. So I can tell you right now that these 7 pillars are going to have value for everyone that hears them. Okay. And you know, and part of that equation is that, okay, you really actually have to listen to them. Okay. I mean, lots of people start these programs. They spend lots of money on these programs, and then they never even open the box. So, you know, you have no
Well,
excuse.
but that's
You don't, you
that's
don't,
why I don't want.
you don't have to open the box. All you got to do is put it on your YouTube or whatever, and you can listen to it when you're doing something else. I mean, that's you know,
The
that's
thing is that,
cool. You know, so.
yeah, it has to be a completely organic process, no pressure, and completely open. And you know, that's why it's important that the person decides how, you know, puts the price tag
Yeah,
on it.
their own value for it, and I think that's the only way to go. And so they're going to be available for you soon. I just
And
finished.
in terms of the, you know, the sequence, you know, we're going to kind of, you know, outline the sequence, and from there we will. Hold 1 second. My battery is not working. Oh, I got it. Okay. So,
Okay,
you
so
know,
Luz, I'm gonna have to say goodnight here pretty soon because
yeah, we have to. We have
yeah,
to. So,
I have
yeah,
places
all
to
we have
go
to do, yeah.
and people to see
So,
and music to make. Yay!
yay. Sounds great. So we put this together with a page with all the information, and you know, the sequence, you know, we put the headline, the outline of the sequence, because the sequence is important. We found that if you start with them in the order that they are, you know, outlined, it's better. Okay?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I love you, Luz.
Thanks, everybody. Love you too. Have fun, darling.
I will. And happy New Year to everybody that's been listening. If anybody has, if you haven't, then you know maybe when you are listening, have a happy New Year and
Yes.
start as you know. Don't make any resolutions. Go to soulhangout.net and be be checking back because we're going to have these 7 pillars on there for you to listen to, so you can make a new change in your life this year. Okay.
Excellent.
No
Excellent.
resolutions, just changes, right?
Yes.
Just changes. That's it. So, and all positive.
There you go.
Completely positive. So, all right. So I'll talk to you tomorrow, Luz. All right. And you have a good day. All right. I love you.